Welcome to the OFX podcast. I'm Dave Claxton. Along with me is the hasty Hulk of the Half Rocks, Bethany McChesney. And this episode is brought to you by Duonamic, creator of cool door frame pull-up thingies that I cannot pronounce, but awesome products, good stuff. So check out Duonamic on Instagram or on their website and order some cool stuff. By the way, I did just get a message from Duonamic, and they are probably going to donate a prize for the Half Rocks.
Oh, awesome.
Yes, so that is little known, not even official. The Half Rocks doesn't even know that. But here we are. Breaking news, shit like that. Okay. No, I guess you'd call it foreplay. Let's get right to it. Big weekend.
Yeah.
OCRWC. And I think it's safe to say that like we were all going into this with a lot of questions.
Yes, especially after the announcement of Spartan.
So yeah, so back it was we're partnering with Spartan. No, let's go even back before that. Back first it was we waited a long time to find out where it was going to be.
Yeah.
And then because normally with OCWC, I remember back when it was in Blue Mountain, and I remember sitting in this room where we were warming up and seeing like flashes kind of on a TV screen, like where it was going to be next, right?
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like that. And then them announcing like the day it was done, announcing, and that was the protocol. That was the way it had always been. And then this year it was like after Stratton, we waited months, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. We didn't know.
Yeah, we didn't know. And finally they announced Mammoth Lake, California. And I'm sure some people were very happy, but I think many more were a little disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
Not because it wouldn't be a great venue, but because it was a pain in the ass to get there. And
Yes.
expensive.
Yes.
So then we went to what you were saying. The
Oh,
Spartan.
and then Spartan bought them out essentially.
Yeah, first it was a partnership.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it was part of OCRWC was part of a season's pass with Spartan. So kind of seemed like they were working together. Yeah. And then just 2 weeks, I think, before the race, they announced that Spartan now owned OCRWC.
I was going to mention this later, but I might as well bring this out now because some people were negative about the Spartan thing because they want OCRWC to remain OCRWC. They don't want Spartan involved, blah, 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 all that stuff. Just like when they bought Tough Mudder. And I did say this when they bought them out. I said, they left Tough Mudder alone and let them do their thing. Hopefully they will do the same thing with OCRWC.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Now, there obviously, for people that were there, was a lot more Spartan involvement. There was a lot of Spartan obstacles, Spartan build crew, Spartan race directors, a lot of Spartan involvement. And I know some people are upset about that. I'm going to put this out there. In my opinion, and I'm guessing at this, if Spartan doesn't jump in and buy it out and take over, it wouldn't have happened. I don't think it would have even went off.
Did you think that was part of the reason why they took so long to announce it? They were working on this all along.
I think in the beginning they were working on it, and then Spartan helped them with the announcement and with the partnership. And I think that's where it came. But I think the actual buyout wasn't so much a buyout as a bailout. Because we all know the way OCWC works, right? They get like local races to bring in obstacles. They have a bit of a cache of their own, right? I mean, we saw Urban Sky, we saw the new Drop Zone one that you love so much. So we did see their Dragon's Back or Triumph, whatever they're calling it, that version. So yes, they do have some obstacles of their own, but they didn't have enough to fill the whole race, and they rely on local races to bring in obstacles and be part of the community. But there's no local races out there.
Yeah, that market is dwindling. And they also chose a location, unfortunately, that's not easy to get to.
Yeah, like Savage is not going to haul over Sawtooth
No.
and bring it out there because it's going to cost them $1 million. I mean, exaggeration, but it's going to cost them a shit ton of money to get it out there and set up and do it. So they're not going to do that. Black Swamp Race and and
Well,
Phoenix
and a
was,
lot of these, like Sawtooth, it relies on having a water pit also. And
yeah.
a lot of these venues at the big ski resorts don't allow you to dig. So unless there's a natural way to put it there
Mhm.
over water, like I
Well,
don't, you Sawtooth, you can't put over.
no, and then you got like and stuff like floating walls, like Hubie. I mean, that when he
Yeah,
had that floating walls in Collingwood, I mean, the two level with the cargo nets and with the ones they have at the Indy Mud, it's a monstrosity. It is
yeah.
visually an impressive obstacle, and it's a fun one to do. That's
Hmm.
gone. That doesn't happen. So
Hmm.
they would have been left with so few of obstacles. I don't think they could have put the race on.
Yeah.
And I think financially, I don't think, I mean, we'll go into that one part two with the numbers, but anyway, so they wouldn't put it on. The entire 100-meter course was sponsored by Spartan and was all Spartan obstacles.
Or was it?
The whole 100-meter course, which, by the way, in hearing that, you think, oh God, that's terrible. I thought it looked pretty good. And it was fast and it looked fun. And I was like, I would like to have done that. I would really like to have done that course. It looked like a good time.
So what did they have?
So I think it was like, I'm trying to remember. So yeah, they had like the tilting ladder, and this will be out of order. They had the tilting ladder, they had a
Hmm.
couple of walls, they had Twister, they had Olympus, they had monkey bars, and I think they had kind of two Twisters things on it. So I mean, there was only about seven obstacles,
Hmm.
but it was good. It was fast. It made great competition. The only thing I didn't like was when you had the inside lane, you had a definitive advantage. So I think they could have worked that out a little bit better. But it it looked like to me, here's the one thing that was different, and I'll compare it to say the first year OCRWC did the 100-meter. It looked like a short OCR course and not a ninja
Hmm.
course.
Yeah. And do you mean the first year where it was like a long jump competition?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Last year was better. Last year, like when we were watching that at Stratton, other than the annoying rain and coldness, it was
Hmm.
a great course. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, this one it looked more like OCR.
Hmm.
And I was kind of like, I'm like, Spartan should set this thing up at their regular events because that's a cool course. It looked like a lot of fun, and I would definitely pay to do that. So, my take: Spartan doesn't buy it out, event doesn't happen, and definitely wouldn't happen next year because I don't think they made any money on this year, and OCRWC could not afford to do that.
Hmm.
Yeah, and they wouldn't have had enough obstacles to host an event. It would have been pretty bleak.
Yeah.
So Spartan naysayers, and we'd like to slam Spartan a lot. I think actually you got to give them credit on this because I think they saved the day.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, a lot of the issues that people have with Spartan are a lot more about the organization of things and not getting paid. And so, I mean, if that's taken care of, people aren't going to complain as much. And if things are run smoothly and, penalties equal the falls to like those are the little things that, so I mean, if things were handled correctly, then it should be fine.
Like seeing retries on Spartan.
Yeah, that was the other thing. I like to see retries on Spartan obstacles.
So what Spartan obstacles did they have in the race? All I saw a dunk wall. There was not a lot of, like, I didn't
Well,
see a lot
the
of,
coverage, and we'll go to the
yeah.
coverage in a minute. But they had their twist. They had a monkey in the middle. They had the Spartan rig. They had the slant walls, the cargo net. There was probably, uh, I'm going to say almost half of the obstacles were Spartan obstacles. And I mean, we could go through the map, but it doesn't matter. The point is, there was a shit ton of
Yeah.
obstacles,
Hmm.
and they needed it. They had to bring it. If they didn't, I say if they didn't bring it, it would not have happened. And like you say, the biggest gripe people have with Spartan, let's be honest, the biggest gripe is not with the average client. They're still cruising. It's with you, with me, with the pros. It's
Hmm.
it's pay your people promptly. And
Yeah.
that's the issue. You take that away, and really it becomes a little thing like, hey, let's make sure the penalty loops suit the obstacles. And pretty much they're still doing pretty good then.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Not paying your guys is a big bill, big issue. You got to do that one. And somebody
Yeah.
keep Joe off social media. That guy drives me fucking nuts.
Yeah.
so so there's that. Okay. Um, the coverage. You want to talk about the coverage? Because I'm sure you tried.
I tried. It wasn't very good. So it felt like I just wasn't getting anywhere with it.
And I mean, I don't. I don't want to blame Jason and OCR Report because they've done some great things, and we are friends with them and have worked with them and do a good job. But we gotta call a spade. And then when Matt has a shitty broadcast, we would chomp on him. So we gotta say, yeah, it didn't work out well, and it is probably for the exact same reasons that OCRWC was struggling. Getting rabbits very difficult because not as many people. Getting anybody out there to help, again, same thing. It was just difficult to give up. Didn't look like a great mountain for signal, and the
Yeah.
course layout was not laid out very conducive to good viewing. Like you'll notice, like when we were in Stratton and Blue, they tried to keep a lot of cool obstacles down at the bottom so people could
Yeah.
just shuffle along. And especially like the 3K in Blue, you could almost see people the whole time through it. And
Yeah.
same with Stratton. Like at Stratton, when I ran the 3K, I remember I had nobody around me when I did Lagaffe, and I think maybe one other obstacle. The rest of the time, people that were cheering for me, friends and family, were at the obstacles because they could get to them the way it was set
Yeah.
up.
Uh-huh.
This was not that case, and I think maybe the mountain wasn't conducive to that, but it definitely hurt the live stream. And then signal, I don't know, spots seemed really good. Spots seemed kind of shit.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
I feel bad for Jason and the guys because I know they work their ass off. Francesca, I still say, is probably the best OCR announcer going. And that's coming from me who does it sometimes. So,
Hmm.
I really think she's great at it. And she did the 15K on her own.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, they weren't struggling to get announcers. Who was it? I can't remember. Oh my God, what his name was. Oh, no, her name. Oh my God. She's an age group athlete, and she jumped in to help on the broadcast on the 15K, and she did good job jumping in. Heather Golnick, thank you, Heather Golnick.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, she jumped in to
Mhm.
help out. By the way, Heather Golnick, race elite, you are too damn fast. She won her age group by 9 minutes
I
on a
know she
3K.
likes that. Yeah.
Heather, you're awesome, especially when it's like that race elite.
Hmm.
But we're giving you a pass because you helped out on the broadcast and you did a great job. Yeah, so it sucked, but I'm not blaming them because I think
Yeah.
it was that was out of their control.
Hmm.
The 100-meter coverage was not bad, which incidentally, go back and watch the 100-meter. The 100-meter is worth it.
Hmm.
Big Ninja star in the final, Tiana Weberly. Sweet Tea, she's been like a part of American Ninja Warrior forever. So she was in there good.
Awesome.
And yeah,
Hmm.
it was great. I think still it might have been my favorite 100-meter.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was something about it that I just liked.
Hmm.
And it might have been that it was a little more rugged of a feel to it, and that gave it that OCR feel, and I liked that.
Yeah.
It didn't look like Ninja. And maybe it was because there was only 7 obstacles too, so there was space and a little bit of running between them. And even though it's only 100,
Hmm.
I think I'm starting to think the 100-meter was not a great idea. 200-meter would have been a good idea, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, there'd definitely be a lot more fatigue involved and maybe
Yeah,
people failing.
yeah, and more obviously a little more running, right? 200
Yeah.
meters, 7 to 10 obstacles,
Hmm.
maybe. Anyway, that was just something. Um, so those things said, what did you think? Like, what when you saw what and what's your take on what you saw about it? I've heard about it.
So everyone that went said it was such a beautiful venue. And I mean, I didn't deny that Mammoth Lakes wasn't going to be beautiful. And it seemed about equally as difficult from what I heard too as last year. Um, so still a lot of people, good athletes, not being able to finish, torn hands and then you have the typical at OCRWC where people will spend 2 hours on an obstacle until they finish. And that's kind of part of it with OCRWC. So yeah, I mean, it was definitely a race where you get FOMO because I always love it. It wasn't in the cards for that kind of travel. But yeah, the numbers, like the big names that were just not there was kind of the thing that stood out to me. And it's so hard calling a world championship when, I mean, we were missing so many names.
Well, you're talking not just so many big names, you're talking 50% attendance compared to previous
Yeah,
years. Or
yeah.
I shouldn't say that
Depth and
compared to the year before. Previous years, you're talking less than 50% attendance. And
Yeah.
like you say, a lot of the big guns. I mean,
Yeah.
if Ryan and Lindsay didn't go, that would leave it very lackluster. You know,
Yeah.
that said, on the competitive side, so I'm like you. I heard the 15K was great, was challenging, and some people even said it might have been their favorite course of all time, which is
I've
great.
heard that too. Yeah.
Which is great to hear. The 3K was a stinker.
Oh, really?
It was easy. Like it was really too easy. There wasn't
Well,
enough.
and I was like 12 minutes,
What's that?
12 minutes or something for the winners.
Let's see. 3K time for the winners. I got it right here. Oh wow. 13. No, that's not right. 21 minutes for Nicole. 21:03 for Lindsay. Rylan Shadag 19:13. So that's on par with
Oh,
finishing
okay.
time.
Sorry.
No, so
Yeah.
that's yeah. You might maybe you were on the thing. Maybe you were looking at the start wave time. And that's what it says 12:53 or whatever.
Oh, then that's
So
what I was looking at.
yeah. So I mean, time wise, really not too bad. But the
Mhm.
obstacles were pretty weak for that one, and obstacle density was not enough. Like that 3K, you need obstacle.
Obstacle,
That's what
obstacle.
it's supposed to be about.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just a beginner race compared to the 15K.
Yeah. Hmm.
And that's not the point of it. It's supposed to be a completely different race. Odd seeing Leon come third in the 15 and fifth in the 3. I wouldn't have guessed that.
Well, you wouldn't have either.
No, I guess not, but he sure was happy.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, Greatest finish of all time in the women's 3K?
It would be up there. We have had some pretty good battles at that finish line. And actually, so I'm thinking of Lindsay and Faye
The burpee
again
off?
at the rig. Yeah. And then a couple with Rose also.
Yeah,
But
Rose puts a good kick in at the end.
yeah, but yeah, that dive over the A-frame for Nicole was quite epic. And then just just went for it, and however her body rolled, it went. And yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Complete caution to the wind. But I think what made it really good was the fact that just before that on the Triumph, when Lindsay first got on Triumph or Dragon's Back, whatever you want to call it, she looked kind of home and cooled.
Mhm.
And then Nicole kind of just came out of nowhere with a flurry and caught up a lot. And then you're like, oh, there's no way, there's no way. And then all of a sudden, like Lindsay's to the top of that cargo net ahead of her,
Mhm.
and Nicole, like you said, just caution to the wind.
Yeah,
Off I
and
go.
flew over.
Whatever,
Yeah.
whatever
And
hits
Lindsay
first
was
hits
playing
first.
it a little bit safe. And it goes to show you to do not stop racing until you've crossed the finish line.
Yeah,
And I think it looked like Lindsay had maybe let off the gas a little bit, and Nicole just wanted it real bad.
yeah, she did, and she took
Mhm.
it, and she took it.
Mhm.
And then the next day, Lindsay come back and resumed her dominance.
Yeah. And the coverage that I just saw from people reposting, so it looked to me like Nicole had just failed a couple obstacles, which made the time gap a little bit more. Not necessarily because she outran Nicole by that much, but I think Nicole had had a couple slip ups, which I mean, she's just coming back to racing after 2 years. So,
So two things I took from that. Um, One, Nicole is legit back.
mhm,
She is back. Is she 100%? I think maybe still mentally there might be a couple of hesitations here and there,
mhm.
but she is back and she's good. And Lindsay, she is the greatest obstacle course racer there ever was. She just
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
I mean, I don't think it's even arguable.
hmm
Now, if
no,
a lot of that has to do with the way obstacle course racing evolved, maybe if it evolved in a different direction, maybe she wouldn't have been. But it went the way it went, and she absolutely is.
yeah,
Because if you're like, I think when you go on the men's side, you can argue Albin, Atkins. Some people say Hunter. I disagree. Um,
Hobie.
Hobie, Cody Moat. There's arguments to be had.
Hmm.
There is no argument on the women's side.
No,
And yeah. So hats off to her. Way to come back. And really after a season of really not racing OCR and just coming back and still being that good.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, wow. Um,
But yeah, big for Nicole though. And I mean, when you see all that she's really gone through in the last 2 years, I do find this even more impressive. Like she has been starting to be more open about her mental health struggles and with depression and kind of all that she had to go through to come out of that also. And I mean, that's tough also if people don't really understand. So dealing with, the injury and then like a serious mental illness, and then now being able to podium twice back to back, I think it does say a lot about her character and her resiliency. So proud of her for that.
It was a long road. And I mean, to the willpower to stay positive and keep going. And I'm sure she didn't stay positive the whole time, but
No.
that's
But
tough.
just, yeah, keeping your focus and on your goals. And
Yeah. Nicole is definitely, she's up there. And again, if it wasn't for Lindsay, she would probably be the best of all time. So, and she's got time left, so she'll still get lots of great races to come into her. We're looking at the 3K. Probably a big surprise, at least, well, for me, was that Ryan was not on the podium. And I think that showed a couple of things. I think one, maybe a little race rust for obstacles, and two, just that for the short course, there's some other guys out there that can really haul. And Rylan put on a clinic. Like, oh, by the way, the whole weekend too, because we'll talk about Ryan a little bit more later. But he won the 3K and showed how great he was there. Then hopped on a plane, got down to Texas, and won the Alpha Warrior.
And his travel there was not easy. He
No,
had a delayed flight and a layover, and he slept in the airports and then showed up to the race and won Alpha Warrior.
He looked like at the beginning of Alpha Warrior, he looked like he just got there and was warming up late. Like he just it's like, oh geez, I got to do this race thing. Yeah. So so Rylan with an incredible performance. That guy, I think, has the potential to become the greatest ever. And you look at it, and he even put a post about this, not mentioning me, but where I keep going on about specificity being more and more important as the sport grows, and he keeps specifying less and doing better and better and better. So what the fuck do I know? So, but good for him. I think he is the exception, not the rule. Ian Hosick. Congrats for Ian Hosick. He had a great showing. And after going over to World Obstacle, maybe not having a great showing, and coming back and just, I think, using a terrain that suits him better to his advantage, and some good fitness, and he put in a good race. Leon, what do you think about Leon's weekend?
Yeah, I mean, everybody loves Leon, so I love that he got his world championship podium in, I mean, the 15K. We did have, like, Rylan was not there, so that helped him out too, because he obviously would have been podium contention. Yeah, I don't really, like, again, I didn't really get to see it, but I guess, is it just Leon didn't have the foot speed? Because we know his obstacle game is top notch.
Yeah, I think he just was outran.
Yeah. And I mean, if you said wasn't enough obstacle density, and European OCR is so different than how we see it here, and put Leon on a European style with much more technical obstacles, and then I mean, that's his time to shine.
That was the thing. Not enough density, not enough technicality.
Yeah.
But I actually think if you had told Leon before, hey, Leon, you're going to come fifth, he would have been very happy with that.
Yeah.
Now I'm sure he would have expected these results to be reversed, and to have come third in the 3 and fifth in the 15. But hey, I know he's happy, and I don't think I saw anybody happier to be on the podium than Leon with his third place. And I was happy. I was like, you can't help but love Leon. He's just the best.
Yeah.
So that was good. And the other one you said too, and you mentioned people being out there forever. Faye Morgan went and did her first OCRWC with this one, and I'm just going to look up the time there, because she was out there. Well, I don't see it on that one yet, but she was out there for a very long time. Did she eventually lose her band? I think she may have. Maybe that's why I don't see her.
I did see her on results.
Yes, she was out there for 7 hours and 25 minutes and eventually gave up her band.
Oh, wow.
That was on the 15K. And I will say, good for you, Faye. That's awesome. Because she embraced what it really was. And that's what I've always loved about OCRWC is
Yeah.
that, I mean, because that was my first year was I was out there for 5 hours and I lost my band and so close to the finish line. And I'm like, that's just part of what that race is. So I mean, that
It
was
is.
awesome.
Finishing with your band is an accomplishment in itself.
And that's what I felt on the 3K this year. That wasn't an accomplishment. That was kind of the problem. 15K seemed just like normal. And I talked to Cedric, a buddy of mine. He was saying that the 15K was legit work, and it was
Yeah.
So on the 3K or on the 15K, like we said, for results, Lindsay, Nicole, Annie Doobie did what Annie Doobie does.
Yep.
She was the best person there that's not Lindsay or Nicole.
Yeah.
Which sounds like a slight, and it's not. It's a compliment.
Yeah. And we know she's been battling an injury as well. So I think what she did is also very impressive for her.
Yes. And then Atkins shook off the rust, took the 15K, which I actually did call on my thing. So I got that right. Ian Hosick again playing second. I'm sure he's elated with that. And Leon getting his third. So good stuff. Tyler Veerman was a bit of a surprise. And I wondered what happened because he started out so well. And again, we didn't see a lot, but later on some stories, I did see he struggled on Gibbons. He lost a lot of time on Gibbons. I think I saw him fail it 2 or 3 times.
Oh, interesting.
It does surprise me because Tyler is normally quite solid on obstacles.
Yeah.
And Gibbons has been around a while now. Most people have it pretty down, but he eventually had to go to a chicken wing on it.
Oh.
And, so I mean, he had dropped down to 9th at one point and ended up finishing 5th. So, I mean, he's still good. I think he just had an off day, which again, he only raced the 15 too. So he was fresh going into it. He was primed. I had actually picked him did I pick Ryan? I picked him or Ryan to win, one or the other. And so a bit of a rough one for him. And then we had the teams. Well, we had the 100-meter. Teams has lost its luster for me for OCRWC.
Okay, this year I was kind of like, okay, guys, really? You're gonna take the top 3 guys and make a team? Like, there should be almost a rule against that.
I agree. Now, remember for a little while they did it where you had to be all from the same country.
Yeah, which kind of makes sense at a world championship.
It really does. And I get the argument against it is it hurt enrollment because people struggled, but I'm sorry. I still think I would have rather seen. Now, one team we saw Nicole and Lindsay team up with a 15-year-old girl from England. That was freaking awesome.
Yeah,
that was awesome. Fantastic. But at the same time, that girl's no slouch either. She smashed her age group. Or came second in her age group. She's legit good. But I want to see the countries really on the team. And if that means Ryan and Lindsay have to team up together and find my buddy Cedric and run with him, then that's what they got to do.
Yeah. So was there prize money with the teams?
Yes.
So they just ran to get a little bit more money.
Yeah, and it wasn't a lot. I think it was like $500 between 3 people.
Yeah.
But still, it just I'm with you. When I saw Kings of Leon, great name, but it was, top 3 guys. I'm like, that's just cherry picking.
Yeah.
Especially when the field is not a deep field.
Right. Yeah.
And and then like we just saw over and the World Obstacle one in Belgium, nation teams. So you see like teams like Denmark and stuff like that, all good. And I miss the days of seeing, like Atkins, Austin, and Sam, and
yeah.
I want that. That's what I want. I don't want.
We wouldn't have had a Canadian. Like I was looking at the results, there wasn't a Canadian outside of Ryan and Lindsay in the top 20.
So grab somebody that's not. Bring him in. That's what I say. Yeah. Cedric, my buddy Cedric was there. Go get him. He can do obstacles. He's fine. He was ready to run.
Yeah.
Have anybody. Who cares? And because everybody's facing the same problem.
Yeah.
And maybe that leads to a big American win. So be it.
Yeah.
They're the ones who showed up. And then prize money. Obviously a little bit down. It's like 3K for the winner. I think the first one I went to was 8K for the winner. That's a big drop.
It is, yeah.
And then everybody's saying the same thing. since Spartan took over, does that mean they're not going to get paid for a long time?
I know.
I don't know.
We'll
I've
see.
heard I've heard from people, and I think Matt had it on his podcast, that they're being told they will get paid promptly and then all that stuff. And it's not from Spartan, it's from other people. So fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I kind of look at it two things though. This comes into my head. The stuff I saw from OCR, from World Obstacle over in Belgium, that everybody was worried about. Yes, they had issues. They had some judging, some appeal issues, some stuff like that. That, you know, first year company, any company really, because Spartan still struggles with that too. Has problems with and needs to work out, and they need to do better. But I saw a lot more optimism of what happened there, and plus I think they had twice the attendance compared to what happened in Mammoth. And now I don't know if they're actually in Mammoth next year, but they are in California.
Mm-hmm.
And that worries me even more. Do you think people will see what happened this year and go, okay, I do have FOMO and I'm going to make an effort to go? Or do you think they're going to say, you know what, I'll wait another year until it's somewhere more convenient?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on where it is in California, for
For
sure.
argument's sake, say it's back in Mammoth.
Uh, I don't know. Like, I'm not going to go to Mammoth. It's just like it would be such an expensive trip. Like, at least make it somewhere that it's like an accessible flight. I don't know. Um, yeah, there might be more just because it did go over so well there. And also, it's so hard when you put any race at altitude. So it is giving a disadvantage to people flying in from sea level. Yeah, there's just so many things about that location that just make it so difficult. But I do understand repeating a location twice
Yeah, they
just
usually
for,
do that.
yeah, just for a little bit of ease of organization.
Um, Second prettiest dunk wall of all time.
Oh, yeah.
I still like the one. I'm still back in Calabogie. It's just Calabogie is the dunk wall of the dreams. So,
Oh, the one in Kelowna was
was
a
it
very
pretty good
beautiful
too?
location. Yeah. It was
Uh,
cold, very cold, but it was up because it was like near the summit.
yeah, that's
Mhm.
cool. And this one looked pretty cool too. It was. I mean, I still, quite frankly, I think OCRWC could do without a dunk wall entirely. But if you're gonna have one, you know, that was a better one. At least it wasn't a big dumb dugout mud pit.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah. All in all, I don't know, B, C plus.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would say a B.
Really,
Mhm.
you're better than me. I was gonna be, it's gonna be a C even.
Yeah, there were so many positive stories that came out of it. So the athletes seem to generally have good feelings about it.
And do you know what, the positive stories? That's where it is. It was in the athletes,
Yeah.
which again makes it just a bad venue choice.
Hmm.
And the worst part is a predictably bad venue choice,
Yeah.
because we all knew it going in. But here's hoping that they do get better attendance next year. I want them to do well. I want them to make a ton of money,
Hmm.
and then I want them to maybe put it in Florida.
Why?
That's a like Florida, and it would be nice and warm.
Okay.
Wouldn't freeze our butts off. You could go down there, go to Disney World, go to OCRWC, and be warm. And then if they want a dunk wall, go ahead.
Oh,
I don't know. We'll bring it back to blue. Blue is the best spot. It was the best one they
I
ever had.
agree. Yeah.
Although England was the biggest attendance,
Hmm.
which again, not my type of course because it was muddy as hell,
Yeah.
but great attendance.
Hmm.
Secretly, they know it should be at blue. They all know. They know. All right. So that's for OCRWC. We mentioned quickly Alpha Warrior.
Hmm.
So Alpha Warrior, if you don't know what it was like a hybrid event. And actually, it was a hybrid race because it was one race. So I can
It was
successfully.
one race.
It was one race.
So then how did the wrestling thing work into that?
I will explain, and you will be disappointed. Prepared to be disappointed. So deal was they start out and they start out with men or women, doesn't matter, one side. So they started with let's talk women. They started with 6 women. And they went off and they had like a ski erg and then this barrel obstacle and then 50 lunges and then another obstacle. And then they get into like this little area they call a pit. And they had to do 5 up and overs and these cleans and stuff like that. And then the last woman done is out. And then the race continues on. So the rest of them go on. So then there's like an echo bike, pipe bomb obstacle, which is actually kind of cool. It's like vertical pipes hanging up. This was a great setup. Like this setup's been around for a while. The military sets it up. It's a good high-end setup. Like a lot of money goes into it. Mm-hmm. So you had that pipe bomb wall balls, and then they get in the pit and 50 burpees. So then again, last woman eliminated. Radical ring obstacle, which is like a circular rings. It almost looks like
that looks so fun.
It looks like back in the day of American Gladiator when they used to try to go across the rings and pull each other off. And I'm like, I agree. I want to try that and trying to make your corner, right? Like cornering on rings.
Changing direction.
Not an easy thing to do. So they had that, and then another one after the rings, jumped the pit, and it was box jump overs, 40 cal rower, 5 box jump overs, 4th place out, and camelback obstacle. I didn't really see what that one was because I'm looking and I can't find, like, they didn't save the live stream again. For God's sakes, people, stop doing this. Another person out, and tank push 50 yards to secure the last 2 people. Secures 3rd spot. Then they have a spider wall, which, you know, like American Ninja Warrior, hands and feet out, pushed against the wall, going down the hallway when you're a kid, up off the ground. So spider wall, and to pit with dead ball overs and some heavy weights. 150, 180, 50, 180, 50, 40 for the women. Last person to finish is 3rd and is out. Then they go to that yoke carry. So big, heavy yoke carry on their shoulders, walk with it, walk back. Very awkward, very heavy, and there and back. Now, here's where it got weird. So especially for the women, it was weird. Carly got to there with a massive, massive lead. It goes to the yoke carry. Weights, and weights. Because at this point, she has to wait. Waits for Chris Rogloski, who is in 2nd place. Hats off to Chris again. She does awesome. 2nd place, she does the yoke carry. Now, Carly's massive lead means she can rest while Chris is getting her yoke carry done. And then they go to that tug of war thing, which big, heavy circle with 4 handles on it. Each person holds on to 2 handles. You got to get them to let go. That's the goal. I said it looked like 2 kids in the basement fighting over a toy.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? But anyway, that's not even the worst part. The part about it being daft is not the worst part. The worst part is Carly wins that. And for her reward and her massive lead, she gets a 10-second head start going into this big, giant obstacle.
Oh, that's it.
I think it's her lead.
Before going into it, I don't know how long it was, but I've heard minutes. She had, well, somebody said that online. It was like 9-10 minutes. Now, I don't know that it was that big, but it was a minutes lead. And then she gets a 10-second lead going into this obstacle, which is like this giant, they call it an Alcatraz obstacle, but it's like almost like a giant playland at McDonald's where there's like tunnels and rings and stuff. It's really cool. But
so she earned herself a huge head start to only be given 10 seconds in the end.
Exactly. And then that allowed Chris to pass her on the big obstacle, which is not a surprise. I mean, Carly, not that she's bad at obstacles, but Chris is one of the best there is. Also, this obstacle had a lot of crawls through tunnels and tubes and stuff, which very much favors someone a little smaller than someone Carly's size. So then Chris ends up with the win. No slag to Chris whatsoever. She raced her ass off. She deserves her win. She did great. But a big slag to that layout.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Well, only up until the last part was it only.
Yeah. But this is just so typical of the ones that are run by military. It's like we can't just have a race. We gotta try to reinvent the wheel and put some kind of fight in it. Please stop.
Yeah.
And the other part is, number one, I hate when they eliminate people right away. Like
Yeah.
I'm
Mhm.
sort of about CrossFit games. Anytime they do like eliminations, like if you're doing a heat race, right, and like everybody's running a 100-meter dash, and the top 5 people go through, fine, because everybody did the same race, and then they're doing another race that's a 100-meter dash. But when it's like you do this and you can get eliminated to do something completely different,
Yeah.
you got to let everybody do it. They should have let all 6 women go through that thing
Yeah.
right to the end, threw away that stupid tug of war,
Yeah.
and then off they go. And
Like more like a time trial.
yeah, and it would have been a great race, but it
Mhm.
wasn't. So anyway, there was that. Then the men went and came down to Rylan and VJ.
Mhm.
And again, a couple of times when they were doing that tug of war, I was watching the video. I'm like, someone's gonna get hurt. Like
Mhm.
they're twisting and rolling, and Rylan was diving across the disc, and like I'm like, this is not safe.
I saw broken wrists happening.
Yeah, I was even worried about knees, like when Rylan dove across, like clipping,
Uh-huh.
like it
Uh-huh.
did not look safe. Hats off to VJ. He fought well. Rylan's a very strong guy, and that VJ showed he was a very strong dude too. So he went through, and yeah, Rylan ends up taking the win. He got the 10-second lead and probably finished about 10 seconds ahead. So they look like they held about the same time through that Alcatraz obstacle. And of course, it was all a big team thing too, which again seemed kind of weird with the team thing, where everybody was competing individually, but there was also
Mhm.
points for best team. And Ryan Kent's team, who didn't compete, he was a coach or manager of the team,
Yeah.
but his team won handily. And there was good prize money.
Mhm.
5,000, or sorry, I think it was
5,000 for first.
5,000 for,
Yeah.
and then the winning team got like essentially $1,000 each member as well. So 6,000 for the
Mhm.
winning team because you had the, or whatever. So everybody got money. It was
Yeah.
good, great. And apparently they were paid on site. So that's nice too. So hats off there. Just don't do stupid tug of war things.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, so this was an event too where we saw people. I mean, VJ was not at OCRWC.
no,
Chris Rogowski was not at OCRWC.
no. Two very big names. Well, VJ, last year's champion, when he
Yeah.
threw that. Chris Rogowski, podium winner.
Hmm.
Yeah,
But if they're again, you're guaranteed money on site, and 5,000 is more than first place at OCRWC. So,
yeah.
and I have a feeling they probably gave them some sort of a travel stipend to get there. So,
It's possible. I'm not sure about that,
mhm.
but it was a good weekend financially for Ryland, though. He won 3 grand in Mammoth and then went down and won another 6 grand there.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
good for you, Ryland. You can buy
Mhm.
us drinks when we're in Dallas. So that was, yeah. It's just another one of these events that, with a little tweak or two, could be really cool.
Mhm.
Oh, and again, like I said, live stream, so great. They had one person with an Instagram camera showing it on live. I understand. Maybe you didn't set up a big live stream or have anything to do it. One person can do fine for one of those, but, and I'm not trying to slag the woman who did it because she did her best. Let's get someone on it who will at least say the people's names,
Yeah.
who will tell us what's going on,
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
give some information, get going. Like, I mean, and not to toot my own horn, but I showed it when I did deck in Chicago, when I did Worlds for OCR Report. One person can do it at a hybrid event. You can
Hmm.
do it. You might not be perfect. I mean, Graham does it all the time with High Rocks, and that's even way harder.
Yeah.
But he communicates. He tells, like, if you're doing a live feed like that, live stream like that, communicate. Just let us know what's going on.
Yeah.
Because I would
Hmm.
come in there and it wasn't broke down. It wasn't all just one straight through two. It sometimes cut out or came in. And I'd come in, I'm like, what's going on now? How many reps are they supposed to be doing? Who's in the lead?
Hmm.
Who is that
Yeah.
person?
Just a bit of a
Yeah,
play.
what are they supposed to do here? Because some of them were strange. And a lot of them really did give advantage to tall people. I didn't think there was a good split of advantage to smaller people to big people to keep it varied, just in my
Hmm.
mind, which is probably, Carly's, like that whole thing until the last part really played to Carly's hand. Um, no fault to hers. Again, when you're the biggest and the strongest, you're the biggest and the strongest.
Yeah.
Just is what it is.
Hmm.
So hopefully they can fix that for next one. CrossFit. Do you want to talk about CrossFit tonight, or do we have time?
I mean, it's just been released. We could skim by it really quickly. But yes, there was big news today in the CrossFit world. We'll just mention it. We haven't learned about too much yet, but it sounds like they're going to separate the elite CrossFit games from the adaptive athletes and the age group athletes, masters athletes. So they're going to be all run on in different competitions. So mixed feelings about it, but
I mean, well, I'm going to put out my take right away. First thing, adaptive athletes, they're having wheel wads do it. It's going to be fantastic. They're going to do a great job.
yeah.
Like we learned very early on from oh my God, not Rachel,
Michelle
Michelle,
Burnett. Yeah.
Michelle Burnett, what a great job wheel wads does, and
Yeah.
it might even be better off.
Yeah.
Um, Other than that, though, here's the thing: if I'm an age group CrossFitter, right? I'm going to go and I'm going to compete in the over 50 CrossFit, and I qualify to go to the finals, and it's in Michigan, and it's not part of the CrossFit Games. I'm like, this fucking sucks ass because I want to be at the games.
So is it just because of the name? Because my initial reaction was, well, that will be nice because I find when I watch the CrossFit games, I only really have time to watch the elites, but I would totally watch the age group competitions or adaptive athletes, but I just don't have time to watch it all. So I think it will be able to showcase the other athletes a lot better.
Yeah, it will. Your stream is going to be better because CrossFit's not going to be doing it. But I
Hmm.
would rather see them do it in the same place and do it a week early. Because if I'm like, I mean, look at it with we're going to DECA. If they said, well, yeah, oh, sorry, me, because you are in the elites, you elitist. So so with me, I'm going to do my age group. Oh no, you're going to a separate weekend to a separate place and all together, and you're not even going to be involved with it. I'm like, well, that blows. I think part for an age group athlete, part of it is being at the big event. So you're doing yours, you're under the big lights, you're all there, you're doing it, and then you're watching the real big pros go at it. And that's part of the thrill. And I think that's going to be missed out a lot for for the age group athletes. And even
Hmm.
the adaptive athletes, would have liked to have seen them say CrossFit say, hey, wheel wads, you run it, you take over
Yeah.
and set it up, but we'll still have it like maybe the weekend before, but in the same place, or even through the week and have it in the same place, like as a prelim.
Yeah. I mean, I see both sides of it totally.
No, no,
So,
no. There's only my
yeah.
side.
You're not a CrossFit athlete.
No, no, because I don't like
I
barbells.
understand that, like, yeah, the appeal of being there at the same time. I just, as a spectator, it's
Yes.
nice.
And you are right. It is going to be better. And because CrossFit doesn't, I mean, CrossFit made just a shit show of the age group and masters video. Like they put a still camera 8 million miles away, and it was like
Yeah.
it was terrible.
Mhm.
So yeah, by them turning the reins over, hopefully to someone else, hopefully that'll be great, and we'll get good
Yeah.
quality. You know, it's not going to be as
Mhm.
clean as CrossFit, but at least it'll be run by people who care.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Just being able to showcase the individual athletes a little bit.
And Rye is right there. There is still no guarantee that there will be a stream at all because someone's going to have to step up and be willing to do it.
Yeah. Well, CrossFit tends to put a little bit more money into things, so
Yeah,
hopefully.
but this is part of it is they're not going to put money into streaming that. That's why they did such a half-ass job last time. They're just washing their
Mhm.
hands of it. So they're going to let someone else run it. So that person's going to have
Um,
to take care of the live stream too. So
yeah. Well,
I
we'll see.
assume there's a lot of assumptions,
Yeah.
but hopefully it turns out well. All right. We'll do with a marathon another time. Or do you want to do it? I don't care.
2 minutes.
Doing it.
There's a world record.
I'm sorry, nobody cares about running.
We're 35 seconds off of running under 2 hours by a 23-year-old in his third marathon.
Freaking insane.
Yeah.
Okay, I knew he was 23. I didn't know it was his third marathon.
Yeah. So he had the fastest debut marathon last year in Valencia, 201 high, and ran another 201 low, and now went sub 201. First person ever to go sub 201. That's all I needed to say, Dave.
What
Some
was
people care. His name is
what,
Kelvin Kipsum. He's
I'm
from
just kidding. I don't want to hurry you. I'm just kidding. What was he doing before though? Like where did he, so you say his first marathon he comes out and runs a 2:01.
Yeah.
What the hell was he running before?
He's only done 3.
What do you mean? He's so young. He probably
No, but I mean, in college, was he running a 10Ks? Was he running,
Oh, I don't know that much about him
oh, okay.
actually.
Because I'm
No.
just
I
like,
mean, he could have just this could be um like he's probably just been training for road racing. It's such it's such a it's such a ticket for to make money and to help your family and your village. So it's in where they are from. So it's they literally that's just they grow up dreaming of being able to do this. So I don't think he went to, as far as I know, he was not in the NCAA scene or anything in college. I think this is what he's done,
it's
is road
amazing.
racing.
It's absolutely amazing. Like
Hmm.
at 23, so you would have to think that this guy has the best chance to legit break 2 hours. I mean, we know the
Yes, he
breaking, the
does.
breaking two with the lasers and the pacing and all that stuff,
Yeah.
which I still think was unreal. But this guy's got a
Mhm.
shot to actually legit do it in a race.
Yeah, to actually do it. So the biggest difference they're saying between Kelvin and Kipchoge is he gets remarkably faster in the later stages. So his fastest 5K was run between 30 and 35 kilometers, and he went sub 14. Like his average 5K was around a 14:20, and then he drops a 13:51 between 30 and 35K. So he has this ability in the later stages of the race that they didn't see with Eliud Kipchoge. So they're saying it will happen. And now he was in a new shoe, which as we're seeing technology becoming more and more advanced in the shoe department, it is seeming to correlate as well with these world records. So he was in Nikes though, but it's the Alpha Fly, another version of them.
Does this curtail the sale of the Adidas $500 disposable shoe?
I hope so. As soon as I saw this, I was like, I hope he wasn't wearing those Adidas disposable shoes. But he's a Nike athlete, so. And Safan Hassan, who won the Chicago race as well, the marathon for women, was wearing the same pair of Nikes. So,
All right. Well, that's good. We keep
yeah.
Adidas away from their disposable shoe. But
Yeah.
I mean, it is unreal. Like that that kind of speed for that kind of distance.
Mm-hmm.
It can't even
A
fathom.
251 kilometer over and over again is just so
Like
remarkable.
I can't even come close to 251 kilometer.
No.
And he's gonna run 42 in a row and look pretty content at the finish line.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
amazing. It is amazing what people can do.
Mhm.
I know, and there's ones that do things at the opposite end of the spectrum, but
Yeah.
that was
It is
unreal.
incredible. Yeah.
Oh, so speaking of running, this is kind of, I just saw a post there the other day, and it was, I don't know, these guys talking on a podcast, and they're not runners at all. I think it was a race car post or whatever, but they slipped it in about how big a lead would you need in a 100-meter dash to beat Usain Bolt?
I would need 50 meters.
And that's I
Because
think what
I
they
think
did was
about
50
yeah.
meters. Yeah. Yeah. Because think about it, like
And I'd still probably pull a hammy.
it would be close. It'd be really good.
Yeah.
You'd probably be close because it's like, all right, so 50 meters. He's like let's call it 9.5 seconds. So, like, can I run 50 meters in 9.5 seconds? Essentially, I have to go 9.4 is essentially what you got to do. Like,
Uh-huh.
I think I can do that. I think I can do 9.4
I think I
for
can.
50.
Yeah.
And some of he's like, oh, you could do more than that. But I'm like, oh, not much, not much. Like 50,
No.
60? Probably not, or a 40-meter lead, or probably not. So
No.
this goes to show you how, even at the short end, how amazing these people are at
Hmm.
the highest end of the ladder. It's
Yeah.
crazy. And like, you're not a slow person.
I know. Yeah.
Like we run with stuff like that. Like imagine your everyday Joe, I think probably would need the 60-meter lead.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, I just thought that was cool. I thought it was funny. And it was like they were all chirping back and forth because they didn't know if 50 meters would be enough either. Now
Hmm.
that said, I think they were a
Not runners.
little not runners I don't think they'd make it. I think he's saying get him with the 50 meter. So
Mm.
So I might as well mention the two last things. Number one, still time to sign up for your Deca Mile. Deca Mile, Deca Strong. Sorry, both of them.
Yeah.
And it's good. Get your name on the board early for 2024 and get a good tune up in for Worlds because almost everything's done. I think all that's left now will be the age group roll down.
Which, yeah, so those emails have gone out.
No, not the roll down. The
roll downs.
Yeah, the roll down emails will go out. I believe it's Friday or Sunday. I'd have to double check. But if you're paying attention and you're interested in the roll down, look into it. Keep an eye on your email because they'll be coming soon because the age group regular qual, the top 20s have gone out and are filled up. So watch for that roll down. We have so many awesome people coming from Canada going down. I'm so excited. And like knowing that there are what did we talk about? There was like Canadian woman in the fit, Canadian man in the fit. You being the Canadian woman, congratulations, going in the elite fit. Yourself and Isaac Sanderson. You are the only Canadian woman in the mile, no Canadian men in the mile. And then 2 Canadian women in the strong and 2 Canadian men in the strong. So we have Becca King, who is going, which is great to hear because I thought that was a bit. And Amber Tate. Amber Tate squeezed in there.
Oh, she's in there. So
yeah, she got in there. Good for Amber. We're rooting for you. I know she will. Nobody will try harder than what she will out there. I guarantee that. And then on the men's side, we have Isaac Sanderson in the strong. No Austin Azar. I guess he couldn't make it. But we did have Ash. Oh my God. Ashley Squire, who with the PR he said it at the Farm Girl Strong got himself in as well. So and good for him. And I mean, like, so he got in a roll down and he ran an 11:58. That's what it took to just get rolled down. Sad. I was hoping Pat Millington would again, and I don't know if he missed the roll down or what happened, but he will be still going, but he won't be in the elite one. When I think he was eligible for the roll down, but didn't get in on it. Which is too bad because I think Pat's due for sub 12 as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, great stuff. Good to see. So yes, still time to sign up for Bethany's Deca. Get down there, sign up. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah.
And the one last thing is the half rocks, which we talked about, which we're hopefully getting something from Deca for, or from not from Deca, from that would be really strange getting a Deca prize for the half rocks. Anyway, from Duonamic for them. We're gonna be live streaming it. So I'm going to live stream the first wave, probably maybe first 2, we'll see, but definitely the first wave of the men and the women. And Bethany will be in the first wave of the women doing that run and compete kind of stuff. So, but it'll be good. We'll be doing that on our YouTube channel, live streaming it. So even if you miss it, it'll still be there so that you can take a look at it later. So yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. Anything else for our quick show tonight that we figured would be short?
We covered a lot of topics, so we will let everybody go now. Thanks so much for listening to Dave and I. Yeah, we covered a lot tonight. All the sports, actually. Running, CrossFit, OCR, hybrid racing. We did it all.
All right. Take care, everyone.